Ted Cruz got heckled at a recent public event.
Arms that stop crimes, that is it actually is the only thing that does.
Because people just don't seem to understand what stops crime. These couldn't be native Texans. They had to move in from somewhere else. Before we talk about these two video clips, I'll let you know that we have a gun giveaway going on. It's happening right now. It is absolutely free, and it ends really soon. So click the link in the description down below to learn which brand new gun you could win. Okay, so we've got some video here of Ted Cruz at an event hosted by the Texas Tribune talking about what it takes to stop violence. And people are out there hollering, just jeering sometimes for what he has to say, because they're embracing the emotional argument. In the first clip, right at the end of the clip, somebody hollers, an 18-year-old doesn't need an AR-15. Well, then we should not be sending people to the U.S. military until they're at least 25, right? No, that doesn't work that way. So it's not the AR-15 that causes the problem. And Ted Cruz makes very compelling points about spending extra money on police officers and mental health care and things like that. And people are just shouting out that, no, they just want to take away the guns. Well, you know what? In a lot of these cases, it is a gun that stopped the killing. Think about that. The only way you can make a deranged maniac stop killing people is to shoot him. Stop him, confront him with equal force. That's the only way you can make him stop doing this. Because someone who has decided to commit mass murder, to take a firearm to a church or a school or a mall and kill as many people as possible, they've already made that choice, and they're not going to stop until you stop them. And that leads right into the second part of this. Somebody hollered out from the crowd, you can see it in the video, that violence doesn't stop violence. You know what? Ted Cruz is right. Violence is the only thing that will stop violence. So think about this. If there are no guns, you think there would be no violence? There are no guns inside prisons. Prisons are very violent places. Violence is caused by people, not by firearms. And if somebody is committing an act of violence and is bent on committing that act of violence and is not going to stop until you stop them, you are going to have to use equal or greater violence to stop them. Now, yes, violence is a dangerous thing. Violence can be terrible. Even when you use righteous violence, it's terrible. People have all sorts of terrible reactions to their use of righteous violence. People who have been involved in shootings and have done everything right and stopped the bad guy, they still have psychological issues after using that violence because, yeah, it is terrible. But you know what? Sometimes it is the only thing that will stop a bad guy. And Ted Cruz makes amazing points in this video that whenever something bad happens, politicians immediately say, we need to take away guns. And the only people who turn in their guns are law-abiding citizens because they follow the law. Somebody who has decided that they are willing to go commit armed robbery or assault or rape or murder, they've already decided to do that. This fact that they're not going to give up their gun because they've decided they need that gun to go and commit the crime because the gun gives them extra power. So that extra power needs to be in the hands of people who will legally and righteously defend themselves and others. That is why guns are called the great equalizer. They make it equal. Now, if I gotta fight a 300-pound guy who is trained in martial arts, mixed martial arts, and has lots of experience fighting, I'm gonna lose. He's gonna be bigger, stronger, faster, and younger than me, okay? He is going to hurt me and take my things. So I need a way to equalize that situation. And that is a firearm in the hands of a righteous person. So understand that gun control does not work. And that was the point Ted Cruz was trying to make, and he's getting heckled by people saying that we should just take away guns. Stop a minute and think about what that means to take away guns in this country. There are hundreds of millions of firearms locked up in private homes throughout the country. Now, in order to make sure that you get all of those guns out of the hands of criminals, that means you have to get all of the guns. How are you going to go from house to house collecting firearms without creating a police state? Think about that. You're violating all of the other rights that are handed down in the Bill of Rights. Your right to be free from illegal search and seizure, your right not to incriminate yourself, First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, all of those things, so that you can give up your firearms, and then all the guns would be gone. The government has total control and will take all the guns away. And then you're still at the mercy of the young, the strong, or the many, because younger people can easily go and beat up older people and take their stuff. Stronger people can easily go and beat up weaker people and take their stuff. And you can form large groups, gangs as it were, and those gangs can control large areas, just like it happens in prisons where there are no guns. So this idea of taking guns away will cause more problems than it solves. And we need to be able to have that discussion and not have people sitting in the back screaming insults and heckling those of us who decide that, yes, we can use firearms legally, morally, ethically, and more importantly, effectively to stop violence. Yes, violence is bad, but the use of violence to stop other violence is good. It's kind of a juxtaposition there, isn't it? This is really kind of odd, and it's hard for some people to wrap their head around the idea that you need to use equal or greater violence to stop aggressive violence. And you need to use equal or greater defensive violence righteously, legally, ethically, and morally to stop the bad guys. That's just how it works. And you may not like it, but it's still true. It's a true story of self-defense. We interviewed an armed Lyft driver who was carjacked to help answer these questions. Should I carry a gun while driving? And what does a carjacking actually look like? Just click the video next to me to watch this must-see interview.